Hey everyone, welcome back to Tactical Magic. This is your host, Molly Mandelberg, and I'm excited to have a powerful spiritual episode for you today, hopefully with some channeled wisdom and guidance and with a special guest. So hang tight for a second. We'll be right back. It's not just about mastering technology. It's not just about brand or messaging. It's not just about making more money. It's about showing up in a big way so your people can find you. This is about bringing your most wild and authentic self into the hustle and grind. Welcome to Tactical Magic, a business strategies podcast for the warrior goddess entrepreneur. Welcome back. So Emmanuelle Di Gallo is an international sixth sensory consultant, a visionary guide, writer, and podcaster. She's collaborated on articles to PowerHouse Global Magazine. She is a wondrous raconteur and is known for her enlightening humor, her laugh, and she will put you at ease. She's the founder of EDG Associates and is not your typical consulting company. You can listen to her podcast on Podamatic at Emma's Universe, and we'll give you the link and more of that later on. But welcome to the show, Emma.
Hi, Molly. Nice to be on your show. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm happy to have you here. So tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do and how you got to doing this. Like, how did your path lead you to here?
Oh, that's the best question ever. I've ever been asked on this one. Well, I've been sixth sensory since I'm a young kid. So this was always been part of my life, talking to the universe, seeing things. And I've been using it as a young kid through now. So I use it in my business as a consulting person. I started this way. Being able to, you go on a job and being able to see things moving and shifting for companies. And at the same time, people will come to us when we're younger and still doing it to these days and at a crossroad. So they will be sitting there asking questions, and we somehow give them some wisdom of the universe. And they were like, okay, we can go about our merry way. And a few years ago, I'm like, I've been doing this forever. And like, it would be maybe time to start my own business after all. And I all got it started this way. The universe pushing behind me, kicking my little booty to get going, and just did it. And things start to roll, from consulting to do podcasts, to do blogs, to multitasking, like following what the flow tells me to do. So this is what I've been doing. Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. You would have asked me when I was younger. I had no idea what I would be doing. And even in my 20s, 30s, and 40s. But it's just all come together with all of the past experience and just said, okay, it's time to, share the wisdom of the universe and get people going with their companies or their own life and providing what they need to, as wisdom. They do have, after that, they do whatever they want to do with it, but give them some good advices and intuitive decision they can make to better themselves and their companies. So that's what I do.
That's awesome. So I feel like there's two things going on there. One is that the universe of the wisdom was being received by you. And the other is that you began to start listening and actually taking action to respond to it or to follow it or something.
I always did.
Yeah. But at some point that turned into you sharing that wisdom with other people. So was there ever a time where you were receiving that insight, that sixth sensory perception and not listening to it, or has it always
been? Yes.
Okay, tell us about that and like what had
the teenage years. I even talked to it on one of my blogs. The teenage years, I think, is the worst, and for any parents should know that. And even if you went through your teenage years, 14, 15, 16, this is where your hormones are kicking in, your ego is already wild. Mm-hmm. You think you know everything, which you don't, but they think, because I thought I knew everything too. And the universe passing you message, you say, what the heck? I was like, no, I don't care about you. You do not exist. Go away. So it's basically was a challenging time because I denied it, what I was receiving as a young kid and just turned it off. I just literally turned it off. But you know what? You can try to turn it off. If they want to tell you something, they will continue to tell you something. But at that time, yes, it was challenging. Yes, it was middle of changes. You're growing. You're like becoming from a child, a kid, to adulthood. You're in between. So you want the freedom, you want, without understanding, you got to work, you got to do this, but you don't fully understand what the world is out there. But yeah, that was pretty wild. I must say, yes.
So
But
I
it's
feel like
always been
inside of there was hidden the idea that we have more ego when we're teenagers, and that perhaps,
yeah.
were you alluding to the idea that it's easier to be tapped into the universe or to receive that wisdom that's coming through when we release the ego?
Well, yes, the problem with the ego is supposed to, what we call it, served your spirit. But most of the time when you're looking at, you see individuals where their ego is so prominent, is doing the reverse. The ego is there to protect and warn, or you can use it as using the skills to help you, not becoming the me versus the world. We are all in together, and we want it or not. But your ego should help you. And I would say 99% of the cases, it's not that, because the ego is there to, feel threats, not allowing you to change. And that's the biggest things. It's being able to take a leap of faith into the unknown. The ego likes to keep you in that little box where it's like, oh, you're safe. You don't need to evolve. You don't need to change. You're just right there. You stay there. The problem with your spirit and with your own self, you need to grow and mature. What happened is the battle between your spirit and the ego doesn't want to let it go. So, if you start a business, like for me, it took about 7 years to really, how can I merge the spiritual side of me with the business side of me? Because I'm a consulting person, I go and do and fix companies, but I do other thinking. It's like as an analyst, as a manager. So you have to reconcile those two sides. And how do you do that? But it took a while for me. But the leap of faith to say, okay, I'm going to create that company and I'm going to go for it. Your ego will still pull you by the back of your shirt and say, no, it's dangerous. It's the end of the world. It's, the chaos. It brings you every excuses to do not take that leap. You don't have money. You're going to fail. You have no idea what you're doing. You don't know what tomorrow's going to be. You get a nice paycheck right now. Stay where you are. So it's kind of like trying to tell your ego, you know what? It's time for you to go to sleep. Let me do the work and let work with the universe to get it done. So that's the biggest things. Then
such a huge leap of faith for most people, I think.
Yes.
Say, and this is literally every entrepreneur has to make that leap of saying, this goes against all rational thought, where
Yes.
I know I can make a reliable income, or I can have, a steady paying job. And
yes.
Instead of doing that, I'm going to go over here and like invent something all on my own and say, I'm worthy of being paid this number that I just made up in my head. And this is what it's going to be like. And I'm just going to go and make that happen. It's a wild leap of faith for anyone to ever do that. And I love to point this out for anyone who's listening, who's already made that leap, who's thinking about making that leap. That is you dancing with the universe. That is you just needing to listen to that inner call and make your pull, your intuitive knowing, your trust in yourself bigger than whatever fear shows up to stop you. And that is a powerful tipping point when you start to choose.
It is
trusting yourself, trusting your knowing over the rational fear. You have to be irrational to trust that knowing. It isn't logical.
It is not logical because we're conditioned in a world, then what I call it the robot world. Most people, you go into the illusional world of the ego, they set up some crazy rules that you got to do this, you got to work, you're getting paid, but they don't give you the opportunity to create. And your spirit is telling you, your spirit is like, okay, that little voice, that soft voice, not the loud one. The loud one is the ego. The biggest one you ever hear in your head is your ego. But that little soft voice is telling you, maybe you need to do this. Maybe you need to attend a class. Maybe you need to do something exciting. And that little voice will guide you there. But like you said, when you're faced with the unknown, it's scary. And it's like, yeah, you got to be insane to do what we're doing. Yes, absolutely, because you will realize, and that was the most amazing part of it. It's like when I was ready, I had my company name, EDG Associates. I knew it. I didn't have the logo yet, But I looked at online and I said, how can I file this? I had no idea. And the universe, I'm typing it, I was like, and the universe answer maybe at the computer, say, okay, go to this company to get everything set. Because it's like, how do I set it up at the Chamber of Commerce? How do this and that? Everything started to get together. It's like you're being sucked in a vacuum when you see those little miracles that say, okay, the universe is there, like it's grabbing my finger and like pulling me, but bring me everything I needed along the way. And that's the things that you need to realize is getting, take the first step, the universe will do 10 steps towards you. But it's the witnessing. In the same time you're going through, it's like, holy moly, I needed this, and that. And also then you got everything you need. The right people comes into your life. Everything goes in a way, it's amazing. The hardest part afterwards, you set up your company, is to get it going. And that's, I think, what people have, I think, a hardest time with that is that you're not going to see instant gratification. It's going to take a lot of work. So, you can start your company on the side, continue to do your day job. And, like I said to people, you don't have to quit your job and just say, I'm going to do this. You can start it on the side organically without pushing it. And the result will be amazing. It's maybe going to take 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Who cares? Do not put a timeline and say, well, after 2 years, if it doesn't work, I walk away. I'm like, no, don't. Because you're creating something and the universe is bringing it to you, everything. When people have a better understanding how the map work with your universe, it's like there is so many pieces that has to come together. But again, it's on the universe timing, not ours. And that is something that a lot of people don't understand. They said, oh, one instant gratification. I want to be a billionaire by tomorrow. I said, no, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. Yes, there is highly possibilities to get a billionaire. Why not? Mm-hmm. But it's like, go through the process, roll up your sleeves and do the work. And as I said, you meet people along the way that will change and shift what you're doing to make it even better. Yeah. So yeah, it's a big leap of faith. And
but it's not without, I love that you're pointing out it's not without taking action. I think there's a misconception that the law of attraction or that the dance with this universe energy and like being in the flow state that we want to be in, that it's a passive process. And yes, it's an energetic process, but there's still going to be actions that allow for your vision to actualize sooner. There are actions that catalyze the process. It's like that parable about the guy who was in a flood and he asked God or whoever to send him, like God is going to save him. He just knows it. Yep. And this canoe comes by and tries to save him. He's like, no, God's going to save me. And then he's on the second floor and the speedboat comes by. No, God is going to save me. Finally, the helicopter comes when he's on the roof. Come on, take the support. No, God is going to save me. And then boom, he dies. And God is like, yo, I sent you a canoe, sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter. Like, what were you waiting for? So the help or the support or the path that we think is going to come is generally not going to come in the form that we think it is. But when we're really when we're willing to trust the energy and to ask, does this vibrationally match what I've been asking for? If so, okay, I'm going to move towards it rather than saying no, or I'm going to take action, or I'm going to say yes to this, or I'm going to do whatever the heck it takes to move into that energy, to increase that energy in my life. Then yeah, it's a mathematical inevitability that the thing you're asking for is going to arise. And it's probably going to be a roundabout way compared to how you would linearly try to construct it.
Well, that's what, like you said, the key is, first of all, and I will keep repeating this until the day I die, until my last breath, the biggest tool we've got is our imagination. The imagination is the engine that started it all. The other thing too, and we need to understand, because a lot of people get confused. You need to take the time to sit down and really look at your intention. What is your intent? If you want to create a business, what is your intent? Is it the intent to amass a ton of money and that's it? Or is it the intent to, okay, I'm going to share something with the world. I'm going to make good money, but I'm going to give back in a different way. And if it's an ego base or if it's your spirit, because a lot of people get angry because it's not working. And it's like, okay, is it your ego speaking? Because if it's your ego, I'm just letting you know it's not going to work. Or you're going to have such a hard time. It's going to be what I call it the half-baked. You're never going to get what you truly are working towards. If it's the spirit, you will be guided and reminded in the same time. Like you said, you need to roll up your sleeve. You need to have a clear intention. If you said, oh, by tomorrow morning, I want to sell donuts. Oh, I want to now become a seamstresser. Oh, I want to do this. It's like the universe is going to sit down for a minute and say, okay, Emma, I cannot give you anything because at this point, you're confusing us with all of your ideas. So if you don't have a clear idea, maybe you could say, instead of detailing everything, I want to start a business and I want to start the dream business, something that will help for my highest good and the highest good of everyone. Mm-hmm. And just send it to the universe. And something's going to come along and grab your attention. And maybe you're supposed to maybe be a designer and you're going to get the opportunity. If you are listening, like you said, you need to be open-minded. It's not, like you said, the way it's delivered sometimes is not what you think it is, but you're going to have to take that leap of faith and said, okay, I'm going to go with it and see where it's going. And you could be surprised that what you thought wasn't supposed to be happening happened the way that is perfect for you. Again, we don't have the bird's eye view. The universe does. We only see what you got on the front of us. So it's pretty limited, actually. So that's why it's like when you create something, be wide in your explanation, meaning, okay, I want a job, but I want my dream job. I don't know what it is, but I want my dream job. So I'm going to tell the universe, I have my dream job. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling it. I have the emotions. I can live it. Don't know what it is, but it's going to come up. And let's say you're looking for a job. And when you're looking for a job, like I mentioned to people, look in there and see how you feel. If it's resonate with you or not. If it doesn't, do not even apply because guess what? You're never going to get it. And that's not for you. But when the right job will come along, then you'll say, oh, wow, that sounds interesting. I'm feeling good about this one. Let's go and apply. You will be surprised of the miracles that comes behind it. Mm-hmm. You're not limiting yourself. Maybe you're a secretary and you're going to become a manager all of a sudden, do something totally different, or become a marketer, working in marketing, something totally different than you would have never believe it. Again, we're not a one-trick pony. We're multidimensional. And a lot of people do not tap into it. They don't even know their gifts.
Yeah.
So
totally.
That's
I love that advice. And I was one of the people who didn't have another job while I was starting my business. And I actually went and tried to get a job a couple times. I went and was like,
yes, I don't know.
I'm not going to quit my business, but like I'm going to get a job somewhere so that I at least have some income coming in so I don't feel so stressed, so I can invest more in my business. Like that seems smart to me. I wanted to do it. I went out and applied at jobs and just could not get a job.
Yeah, because the universe saying no.
The universe was like, no, you need all of your time and attention. And I was working 40 to 60 hours a week easily on my business. And the universe was like, you need to be doing this right now. You need to be mastering this right now and not focusing on something else. So luckily I had the support system to allow me to do that at the time. But it is a smart idea to allow your dream to come to life without making it your sole breadwinner. If it's possible to do that. And
if it's possible, yes.
Yeah. Or otherwise, the universe will tell you what to do.
Or otherwise, you can ask, if the universe is telling you this, then you ask them and you said, okay, that's fine. I can do it. But money comes to me easily and effortlessly, guys. I need your help. And you will be surprised by things coming along. Somebody will come and say, oh, I thank you to lunch for this. Or, hey, I have $500. Hey, here we go. Take it. No worries. And you will be surprised, like, okay, thank you, universe. That's like, whoa. So
totally. Yeah, I want to go back to something you just mentioned also, because this comes up for people in the manifestation process of the way that you talk to the universe and the way that you phrase things, like to say, I'm working at my dream job, or I have my dream job. Like that is a powerful statement of what you desire to actualize. And at the same time, for some people, that will bring up a feeling of I'm a liar. That's not true. It brings up the dissonance rather than the resonance to what they desire to actualize. What do you say to that? Yeah.
Well, what I'm going to say is, here's the deal. If you speak in future tense, I will have it. I will have it one day. The universe is going to take it and say, well, it's like the donkey and the carrot. It's like, you get the carrot in front of you, but the donkey never gets it. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing. The universe said, okay, Emma, you want this in the future, but your future could be maybe at the end of your life. Maybe you'll get it or not. When you speak in the present tense, you're telling the universe, I already have it. I live it. I'm right here, right now. I'm telling you right now, I'm sending you the message. This is my dream job. I have it right now. I'm enjoying it. How does it feel? And those emotions, like we're vibrational beings. So everything we think of will go into the universe, and the universe will take it notice, because the universe doesn't understand when you're angry. You have a sense of humor, sarcasm. They take everything at the first degree. So if you are a very angry person, you're going to get anger. But when you are looking at manifesting something for you, then it's just sitting down and just said, okay, or even write it down, because I use it as my groceries list, like I call it before I did a vision board. I did one this year, was called Bear and Read, but I had my groceries list and I just put it, I am, fill out the blank. Money comes to me easily and effortlessly. My company is successful. I have a lot of customers. Everything is wonderful. Blah, blah, blah. Everything basically my spirit wanted to experience, but never speak in future tense. Never. It's always, I have it. I'm living it right now. And take the time to, even if it sounds crazy, it's like, remember when you were a kid and you were daydreaming about, I don't know, ice cream or whatever you wanted. But it's, you have to go back to the childhood and play. This is what it is. Like Einstein said in his life, he regrets it to do not have played enough, because playing brings creativity instead of working. That was his deal. And I'm like, I agree with him. I'm like, yes, you're right. Because the more you play, the more you're projecting into the universe, the more you're shifting your life slowly but surely. Maybe it's going to take time. Again, time should not be part of the equation. Regardless if you're going to get your dream job in a week or in a year and a half, you are on a way to shift and change. It depends where you are. But always speak in present tense. I correct a lot of people when they said, well, I will. I'm like, no, you have it now. Just speak this way. Change the way you think. Your biggest enemy is what you're playing in your mind every day. What is the music and the words you're repeating every day? Because we all do repeat something in our mind. And it's course correcting ourselves. But when you speak in present tense, it's I have it. It's all done. So it is.
So it is. Yeah. I had, I forget where I heard it, but recently heard a really lovely metaphor like this of, imagine you're sitting at a restaurant and the universe is the waiter that's coming to the table to take your order. You tell the waiter what you want, and then they go away, and you know that food is going to come to you. There is no doubt. You don't call the waiter back and keep them at the table and keep saying, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. Hey, this is what I'm having. And then they go about and bring it about. So make our demands of the universe, or our asks of the universe, the same way. Hey, here's my order. And now I'm going to hang out over here while you go handle that. And I'm going to know with full confidence that you're going to come back out of the kitchen, the universal kitchen, and hand me everything that I ordered, without me having to sit here and spin my wheels and feel really stressed that it's not going to come, and feel like I have to figure out how you're going to be cooking it in there, and all this silly shit that we would never do sitting at a restaurant after we make our order. So have that energy every time we make an ask of the universe, and just sit there in full trust and knowing that the universe is cooking that thing to perfection, to medium rare as we ordered it.
But here's the little caveat in there too. If you're not sure, because the problem is sometimes we got a set idea. We have to use those little magic word after that, and I'm doing it every single time. Or something even better, or greater. And so it is. Mm-hmm. So it is the stamp of approval. It's like, bing, send it to you. But something even better is the magic key, because we think we want something, but the universe knows there is something even bigger and better for us, and they want to give it to us. But if we are limiting ourselves, we're not going to get it. We're going to say, oh, I'm happy I have this, but kind of like, maybe I'm missing something. By giving this, you're expanding it, and the universe will deliver. The other thing, like we talked earlier, is keep an open mind. Because if your mind is closed, it's like, this is what I want, or I want a mate. I want Brad Pitt right here. I'm like, no, you're not going to get Brad Pitt. But look at, how the attribute to that person, how you feel with that person. They will bring you the right person. But you need to keep an open mind. And sometimes it is not the way you think it is. Like you used to date a certain type of individuals. It's going to be somebody totally opposite of what you normally date. And you're going to be surprised. And a lot of people, their mistake, because the universe will bring you the right person. It's up to you with your free will to accept it or not. A lot of people will not look at that individual coming in because, oh my God, it is not like Bob wearing a suit. It's totally different. It's not, you know what I mean? It's like, oh no, he's not this and that, because I'm set in a stereotype than I am. But you ask them and you told them, I said, so how does it go with the last relationship you got? Oh, it went down south. Oh, don't you think that every relationship, if they were the right guy, you will not have to, be looking for somebody else's? It's like, open your mind. It's a great, I think there is so much growth when you do this, that those lessons that we need to learn, patience, because I screamed enough at the universe when I lost my patience a few times. Like, people, are you asleep here now? It's like, come on, nothing is moving. Well, nothing is moving because in order to make it happen, every piece has to line up. And sometimes there is delay because, again, it's not only for me. It has to be happening in a way that everything, all of the circumstances to me to get where I need to be, like client or a new project. Well, maybe the project, they say the example of the projects. Well, the company needs to get it approved for the funding. Then they will contact me. But if they don't have the funding, they're not going to contact me. So I have to wait on that. So it's a game of patience and understanding. And a lot of people, when they are very close to their goal, will quit, will not push the last obstacle or challenge. And unfortunately, if they did not push this, that will not bring them where they need to be. They're going backwards. So it's like you have to redo everything from scratch. So, but yeah, you have, I don't know, you have
don't
to.
Give up. The
No,
moral
never
of that
give
story
up.
is never give up, never give in. Don't quit just because something seems hard. Challenging is the growth path, and that's often right on the other side of that is everything you desire.
Exactly. But it takes time. It takes life lessons. Like I said to everybody, I said, you have your set of life lessons. No matter what, before you showed up here, your spirit decided you're going to learn this, and that. Like, okay, you got to learn. You come here, you have your own free wills and your dreams, and you want to go for your dreams. But it's not because they're not going to stop you to get your dreams. But along the way, in that path you're choosing to go, your life lessons will come along too. You cannot pass by them and just say, oh, today I'm avoiding this one. It's like, no, you have to learn them because that helps you to get to your next journey, to your next level. That's what it is. It's like a limited graduation right there. Oh, I did this. I learned patience. I learned this. I learned that. Yes, you do. And that helps you to get where you need to be. And you know that when you get your company, the maturity and the wisdom you get when you get, like you said, you were working 50, 60 hours a week, 80 hours a week, at the end, when it starts to pay off, when you see the harvesting and all of the hard labor you have done, and the universe bring you all of that bounty back to you, you have a moment where you sit down and it's like, holy moly, I'm looking how I started it and where I am today. And you're like, crap, that was a lot. But you see also your view on everything has changed. You become mature. You are a different person than you were at the beginning. The maturity is amazing. So that's something that is great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. This is super powerful stuff. And I hope everybody listening is at least tapping into the energy and getting more possibilities for their future. But where you have a whole podcast where you riff on this stuff all the time and you support your clients in tapping into this energy as well. So would you let us know where's the best place to find you? How do people get in touch with your podcast? Like, where do you want people to come be in touch with you?
Well, I do. Well, they can go to Podamatic and go directly there and go to Emma's universe, Emma podcast universe, or Emma's universe. There is an Emma somewhere in the universe, or you can go to my website. It's like I never use the podcast, the Podamatic. What I do normally is I have it embedded into my two of my actually website, which is www.edgintuitive.com. And you got the podcast embedded in there. So you can go directly in there and listen to it and be linked as well. because I do so many things. I don't know how I sleep, but
Yeah.
I have 2 blogs. Well, I have one blog for the compliance and the EDG side. I have the intuitive one where, I share stories as well, because I think people need to relate and understand when you are writing the blogs. You can talk about anything, but sharing your story helps people to understand they are not the only one to be challenged in their lives, and understanding how things works and how you can be frustrated at time, or how can you change your perception or get that little fire in you to go back up and just say, okay, I'm feeling down right now, but I'm reading this, it's inspiring. So it helps. And I have this in there too, because I do it on a daily basis for this one. So there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
You didn't go there.
So we will give y'all that link to edgintuitive.com in the show notes. And before we wrap up, is there any last, I know you've got lots of words of wisdom, any last one-liners or anything that you want to leave people with just as, insight moving forward?
Well, the only thing the universe said, we need to be a little bit more thinking about our spirit and be less ego oriented. And I think a lot of people need to understand that and their intent. I think the key for this year is where your intention is. Because if you know where it's coming from, your ego or your spirit, then you have a possibility to change and go back with your spirit to do something that is meant to be for you. That's the biggest deal. You don't need to copy somebody. You can be inspired by someone. But your path, all of our paths are unique. Your journey is unique. Mine is unique. It seems like we're running in parallel sometimes with people, or we're crossing paths, but ours is unique. We're trailblazers. So be your own self is the key. And just look at your intent, because you will see when you have not succeeded at something that your intent wasn't right. It wasn't good it wasn't for you, actually. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would say.
Awesome. I love it. So everybody go and follow edgintuitive.com. Check out the blogs, check out the podcast. And thank you for being on the show, Emma. It was such a blessing to get to chat with you. And thank you all out there for listening. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, review the show. And if you want to support this podcast to continue being commercial free, you can go to wildheartsriseup.com/podcasts and find the Tactical Magic page and become a Patreon of the show if you'd like to. We love the support, and thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and whatever happens, don't forget to keep asking big questions and taking bold action, because you are here for a reason. Bye.
Bye.